When it comes to outdoor activities and entertainment, nothing beats investing in a solid drone. Regardless of whether you're looking for the budget drones, or just want to have the best drone that money can buy, you came to the right place. If you're interested in finding out which drone is best for you, stay tuned. Before getting started, I'd like to say that this list is based on my personal opinion, research and the test experiences of the actual owners. So, without further ado, let's get started with the list. With a long list of features, and a competitive price tag, the TYPHOON H unseats DJI's Phantom 4, as the heavyweight champion of drones. Yuneec has been making fantastic aerial photography drones, since before the word drone was part of the popular vernacular, and the company's TYPHOON line has consistently been one of the best in the business. But just like every other drone manufacturer in the game, Yuneec has also been living in the shadow of DJI for the past few years. No matter how advanced or capable Yuneec's TYPHOON drones have gotten, the company just can't seem to unseat DJI from its throne. The first thing you'll notice is that the TYPHOON H is a hexacopter. It's got 6 rotors instead of the usual 4. And it only needs 5 to fly. This redundancy means that if you lose one rotor for some reason, the drone will be able to recognize the problem and safely fly back to the home position for repairs. Second, unlike the P4's camera, which can only pan up and down, the TYPHOON H camera is mounted on a 3-axis gimbal that can swivel in 360 degrees. The landing gear is also designed to retract at the flip of a switch, so that it doesn't get in the way of your shots. The TYPHOON H is much more consumer-friendly. It bundles a very nice 4K video camera, shooting 30 FPS, or 60 FPS in 1080p, and featuring 12-megapixel stills, and flies just fine with only one person at the controls. It can also be paired with a second controller though, which opens up the possibility of separate pilot and camera, something not easily done with any other similarly priced drone on the market. This alone puts the TYPHOON H well above and beyond what you'll find in DJI's Phantom line. There are other impressive features, too. The camera is mounted on a 3-axis gimbal, which allows for 360-degree pans. It has retractable landing gear, sonar-based object avoidance, and like the recent Phantom 4, plenty of autonomous flight modes. The result is a very impressive, rock-solid aerial photography platform. There are 2 downsides to the TYPHOON H. The first is the construction, which while sturdy enough to withstand a rough landing, is still a bit flimsy. The other drawback is the battery recharge time. A full charge takes well over 2 hours. That's twice as long as the Phantom 4 takes to fuel up. The flight time itself is on par with quadcopters however. Yuneec claims 24 minutes, but you should average at least 20 in a normal day. The TYPHOON H can be a lot of drone to control at first, but once you get the hang of it, it's clearly far more sophisticated than anything else on the market at this price. Spend the time to master its full capabilities, and you'll never want to go back to quadcopters again. The DJI Spark is a diminutive drone that just screams to be put in your bag and taken everywhere you go. It's likely to appeal to all levels of users, thanks to its extremely compact size and strong feature set, but this miniaturization does come at a cost. Compared to most larger models, it has shorter battery life, lacks a 3-axis gimbal, and notably, does not support 4K video capture. But, did we mention that it's really small? The Spark doesn't have a lot of direct competition from models of comparable size and feature sets, though the closest alternative is probably the Yuneec Breeze 4K. If size isn't a critical factor, there are models with more impressive specs, such as DJI's own Phantom 3 Standard and Phantom 3 SE, in the same price range. The Spark is also available in a Fly More combo that adds a remote controller, charging hub, spare props, propeller guards, and extra battery. It's no joke that the DJI Spark is as small as a can of soda. Measuring in at 143 by 143 by 55 millimeters, and 300 grams, the mini drone is something you can easily stuff into any bag, or even hang off the back of your belt. The DJI Spark also comes in a small phone box, that's really no bigger than a headphone case, we would normally put into our bag. The included storage box also has compartments for 4 replacement propellers, and 2 extra batteries. Aside from its small size, the Spark is DJI's first drone to be offered in a variety of colors: alpine white, sky blue, meadow green, lava red, and sunrise yellow. The splash of color is a welcome piece of personalization in a world of drones that have thus far been a mix of gray, white and black. The DJI Spark might be small, but its main body feels dense and solid as a brick. The drone's limbs feel just as sturdy thanks to some heavy ribbing. With nearly zero visible seams along the drone's body, it's clear that most of the Spark's fuselage is molded from one solid piece of plastic. Taking off with the DJI Spark takes mere seconds of setup, with attaching the propeller guards, turning it on, and linking it to your smartphone through the DJI Go app. Alternatively, you can skip the controller, and command the DJI Spark with just hand gestures through the new feature called Palm Control. You can have the drone take off from the palm of your after it scans your face. From there you can wave your hands at it to take control of flying it like a Jedi, moving objects with the Force. Waving your hand commands the drone to fly up and away from you, after which you can form a picture frame with your fingers to have it take a selfie. There's no question the DJI Spark is the company's most approachable drone yet, with intuitive gesture controls, a compact frame, and low enough price to compete with other affordable quadcopters. From the palm control, quick shots, and deeper smartphone integration, DJI has broken multiple barriers of entry that make drones seem intimidating. That said, the DJI Spark experience isn't flawless, especially if you don't use it with a controller. The gesture controls can be finicky and require a bit of patience. The short flight time also basically requires you to carrying around spare batteries. DJI is a company that constantly iterates and updates its drone, so you can be absolutely sure that DJI Spark will get better over time. Until then, the DJI Spark is a great drone for its price, and one you'll definitely want to check out even if it isn't completely perfect. Sporting a wingspan of 45 inches, and a depth of 22 inches, the 1.6-pound body is made of expanded polypropylene foam, and carbon tubes for reinforcement. There's a sole propeller in the rear to give it lift, with winglet tips on the wings protruding up for better steering. It uses the same 14-megapixel camera Parrot built for the Bebop 2, albeit with some software improvements to improve image quality. That is attached to the electronic box called CHUK, which means Control Hub, and Universal Computer Kit, where it carries a connector for the 2,700 mAh battery. There's 32 GB of internal storage on board, without any memory expansion options. There's also a micro USB port for direct connections to PCs and Macs. But it's only for content transfer, not for charging. The battery has its own charger, requiring a wall outlet. The sensory technology on board includes ultrasound, altimeter, camera, and speed sensors. A 3-axis gyroscope, accelerometer, magnetometer, and GPS make up the internal navigation system. The Disco is programmed to climb to 164 feet, and then stick to a loiter mode holding pattern, flying in 196-foot diameter circles continuously until overridden manually on the controller with a simple flick in any direction on either joystick. The thruster on the left joystick can accelerate the drone to a max speed of 50 miles per hour, which can put it out of range quickly, so you better only use it for short bursts, especially when climbing or descending. We should note that loiter radius and altitude is adjustable through sliders in the Free Flight Pro app. Technically, the Disco can go as far as 1.2 miles away, and slightly under 500 feet high to stick to FAA regulations. We were able to take it as far as 1,500 feet away, but without being in an elevated position, it was easy to lose sight of it, forcing us to press the return home button on the controller to bring it back closer to where it first took off. For that reason, we take the maximum distance with some caution, because it didn't seem practical when there wasn't a vast, wide open area without any obstructions. The 32 GB of internal storage is good, and there's always the option to transfer content over to the phone or tablet via Wi-Fi on-site. Or you could transfer them to a PC or Mac through the micro USB port, with the option to delete them from the internal storage right after. Battery life was far better than just about any quadcopter currently offers. You can fly the Disco for up to 50 minutes on one charge, made up of many takeoffs and landings, with video recording at various stages. Wind conditions do factor in, so you should recognize that it's a fluid number, but most quadcopters can barely do half that time in ideal conditions. Overall, the Disco is very well built and flies great, but it's also hindered by its limitations. As a fixed-wing drone without landing gear, it doesn't fly at the same acute angles, nor land on various surfaces like a quadcopter can. On the other hand, it flies really well, and footage naturally looks more cinematic because of its constant forward motion. DJI's Phantoms are often called the iPhones of drones. And that's a fair description. They're one of the most popular drones on the planet, packed with high-end features and functionality, and the latest models are always at the top of their class. On top of that, DJI also releases new models at a steady rate, packing even better features into a nearly identical form factor. The first, and most obvious addition is the Pro's new 5-direction obstacle avoidance system. Whereas the P4 only featured forward-facing Sense and Avoid, the new and improved version has sensors on its front, back, left, right, and underside. These sensors actively scan the environment around the drone and allow it to autonomously avoid objects like trees, buildings, and anything else you might encounter during flight. The other standout improvement is the Pro's camera. The Pro uses all new hardware with a 1-inch image sensor, which is 4 times the size as what's used in the original Phantom 4. On top of that, the camera can shoot 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, and still images at up to 20 megapixels. DJI also tossed in aperture control and a mechanical shutter. No matter how you look at it, the P4's new camera is bigger, better, and more customizable than ever. It's impressive that DJI has managed to outfit the drone with so many new features, while still maintaining an identical form factor. The additional sensors have been tucked into the drone's legs, while infrared and optical sensors are fitted into the drone's left and right sides. Even the camera, which is drastically better than the one found on the original P4, is just a bit larger than it was before. Unless you're familiar with DJI's drones, the P4 and P4 Pro are as good as identical, despite Phantom's numerous enhancements. Under optimal conditions, DJI says the Phantom 4 Pro can stay airborne for up to 30 minutes. But of course, real-world conditions aren't always optimal. The flight performance of the Phantom 4 hasn't changed in this new version. The P4 Pro boasts nearly identical flight specs to the original P4, when it comes to things like speed and agility. Luckily, this isn't much of a letdown, since the P4 is still among the most nimble quad-blade drones sold. Without a doubt, DJI's Phantom 4 Pro is one of the best drones in existence today. It's the only drone with omnidirectional obstacle avoidance, and the camera outdoes every other drone in this class. Eventually it'll be overshadowed, but it's the best high-end consumer drone we've tested so far. If you're in the market for a drone and have a relatively high budget, there's no better way to spend your money. It'll last probably a few years, or more. DJI constantly rolls out updates to most of its products, and we have no reason to think the P4 Pro will be any different. Firmware updates come through on a regular basis, and DJI already has a suite of upgrades, attachments, and accessories in the works. So, assuming you don't fly it into a lake, the P4 Pro should last you for quite some time.